The right people come together at the right moment when they care almost as much about winning as they do about each other. They can become the best of the best.
There we go. It's the best soccer show. Jason Davis, Jared Dubois. Jared, I would like to first apologize to you on this Tuesday evening.
Oh, yeah?
It wasn't until, I don't know, midday my time, maybe afternoon, before I was like, hey, Jared, do you want to do a post-game show like the old days? Like, do you want to jump on post-game for this friendly? The United States is playing against Switzerland. I was like, oh, we could do a show. I didn't know it was going to be like that. I didn't know.
By old days, do you mean Trinidad and Tobago 2017?
Maybe that is what I mean. Maybe that is what I mean. Yeah, that was not fun, is what I would describe that as. I mean, at least they didn't give up a goal in the second half. Looking for something. You tell me. What should I hold on to?
I don't know. At least I don't know. I get ball cancer. At least they didn't take both of them. You know, like I don't know, man. Like it sucked. The best thing I'm trying to get to now. I'm trying to get to a place. This is how meta I'm getting with this team right now. I'm trying to get to a place where I'm like, Pochettino's okay with this because he's doing the thing where for all the starters, all the A squad that can't be here, I'm trying to think he's playing the meta game of I'm going to destroy something you love and threaten something you love so you'll come back and fight harder for it.
So it's basically like, like look at what you did by not showing up or playing for a team that's involved in the Club World Cup and they don't have to release you. That's not up to them. Look at what you did. And I don't know if we're going to, I don't know if we're going to spend a lot of time on the dad drama this week and posting on social media and all of those
you
things.
Said dad drama. I think you meant someone got someone pregnant.
And comments made by former national team players that may or may not come off as hypocritical. Like we might get to that. But yeah, I mean, I can't not think about the decisions some players made and the choices that Pochettino made around some players after that performance, because look, I think the context of the game is important. That team that he put out in the first half had no business being a team representing the United States of America in an international game, especially against a team as decent.
Are you talking about the effort or the actual players in the talent level on the field?
I'm talking about the talent level on the field.
Dang, now, say names. Name names.
Well, there were players that have been in the national team picture before, and you know, okay, look, if Brendan Aronson is in a team that also includes a Tyler Adams or a Weston McKennie or that kind of thing, I may not love it, but I'm not going to go, well, that's a disaster. What is he doing out there? I just kind of think he might be the weakest link in a decent team or in a fairly talented team. But you tell me, when you look at that starting lineup, okay, Matt Turner's back in goal. I would prefer him be playing some regular soccer. Maybe he will get that in France.
Yeah.
Maybe that's coming. Fine, whatever. Nathan Harriel, no thank you. Max Arston is not a defender. That man does not know how to defend.
Going forward, I don't mind Max Arston, but here's the thing.
Is he a winger? Do we need wingers? Play him a winger. He's not a fullback. That dude's not a fullback.
I definitely thought he got beat wide multiple times. But it almost looked like it almost looked like the intention of the formation that was put out was to give up the wings, deny the middle. Because over and over again on both sides, the fullbacks were tucked so far inside, a simple transfer of the field to the other side was beating our entire team.
Yeah, okay, but if Mauricio Pochettino, shout out to my man Jason, he knows. If Mauricio Pochettino is not aware that Max Arston is not a fullback, that if at best he is a wing back and really he's a winger, if he's not aware that setting him up to be in 1v1 situations against talented Swiss wingers is a recipe for disaster, he's a bad coach and we should fire him.
What's the other option? Who's the other option?
No, you just talked about the tactical choice.
No, yeah, for sure. But if it's not Arston, who is it? John Tolkien is a similar player.
No, John Tolkien's a better defender than Max Arfton because he
I'll give
plays
you that.
fullback. He understands the positional situation much better than Max Arfton. And I don't even think I hate Max Arfton. I think, I don't know that he should be in the national team picture. I don't know that he should be our guy, in terms of depth. Hopefully he's not. But again, when Jedi Robinson's not there, where do you turn? I get it. Who's your guy at Parma who didn't get called up? Better defender.
Yeah.
Better defender. Christopher Lund. Better defender. Why? There are choices here that seem
Joe Scally, better defender.
Incongruent. Well, he's also a right back most of the time.
But I'm saying for the Harriel issue.
Yeah, sure. Harriel's not the guy either. Okay, Mark McKenzie, I got no problem with. Walker Zimmerman, whatever. His time has passed. Whatever. You play him in this game. I don't love it, but whatever. Johnny Cardoso. We may have to come back to Johnny. Okay, we'll save Johnny for a second. You have him next to Sebastian Berhalter making his debut. And while Sebastian Berhalter has been a very good player for Vancouver.
Sure. You're throwing him to the Wolves, his first cap against a Swiss team that also put 4 up against Mexico. 20th ranked team in the world. And you're going to make his partner, Johnny Cardoso, who's going to give him nothing in combination passing.
Yeah. You tell me that that's the right choice. And then in the front four, we had Quinn Sullivan. First cap, not whatever. First meaningful game of any type. I guess he played in January. Maybe he did. Yeah. Paxton Aronson, who is a nice player, but not ready for this. Brendan Aronson, who is an effort player, leaves me cold. And Brian White, who didn't get any service. So what the hell am I supposed to think of Brian White? Like I don't know, man.
The funny thing is, do you feel that when he chalked this up, okay, only what was there any returning player from the other night? It's all new 11, right? No, Johnny Cardoso both games. And Arston.
Yes.
So 2 players returning for both games.
And Johnny Cardoso, who got pulled at halftime in part because his mentality was out the window when he made the mistake and gave up the goal against Turkey.
So when you look at these 2 games, you know that Switzerland's a tougher opponent of the 2, right? You know that.
You should expect them to be better.
I don't think they're too far off from each other, but Switzerland's the tougher matchup of the 2. So is it too much to think that Pochettino believes this was the better 11?
No,
like when he set up 2 11s,
there's no way.
Do you think
no?
Why he played this 11 against Switzerland then?
Because he's not thinking about winning the game. That's not his priority. Winning the game is not his priority. He's not putting a team out there going, I think we can victimize Turkey in this place and that place. And look at it tactically. This is the best. He's just thinking, I want to see these players. I want to see these guys play. I don't know if he thinks that's the best team. It's a mixed bag. You got a debutant in Freeman. You've got, again, Arvston, who's had a look in January. You got Jack McGlynn, who a lot of people will tell you doesn't have the athleticism to play at this level. You've got Malik Tillman, who you're still, you keep going back to that well. We know about Diego Luna. Aubameyang, I'm fine with giving him a chance in the absence of other center forwards, although I would have loved to have seen more Damian Downs.
Where is Luca Della Torre, the standout player from the first game? For my opinion. Best player on the field the first game.
Jared, you don't look at these 2 games and think the idea for Mauricio Pochettino, in almost like he was unaware that they would keep score. Like almost like he was like, that's a friendly. They don't keep scoring a friendly. We'll just play everybody, and I'll get a look at everybody.
Are we off? Are our expectations off? Because it is Pochettino like nothing matters until the first whistle in the World Cup game. Is that the mentality we should have? Because it seems like the mentality he has. He seems calm. He seems like this is just another minute. It's just data. All this is data. That's the way I get when I hear him talk and I see his body language. Every bit of this is data. Nothing matters before the first whistle. So maybe we're wrong. Maybe we shouldn't be expecting performances and results because for him, it's just another point on the graph on that day. And a year from today, I think, or a year from right now, that first game, I'm going to know which 11 to put on the field and what system to play. Everything else doesn't matter. Do we give him that much faith?
I don't know why I should. This is what I keep coming back to. I would like, he did a media tour, okay, around the Nations League failure. Coming out of that, he did a media tour about how we wanted to create a culture that it matters to play for your national team. By the way, completely undermined by this whole Pulisic saga. the idea that we're supposed to create a culture that players should want to show up, put on the shirt, put on the flag, represent their country. It's not every time. There's no playing golf. Didn't he say something like that on the Donovan Howard show? Like,
Yeah.
yes, you're not supposed to want to come and play golf with your guys. This is about representing your country. Where is the spirit of put out the team that can win the game? Your best team. Don't go, well, I haven't seen this player. And put out what you think if that's what he thinks his best team is, fire him now. I'm going to say it again. Fire him now. If he thinks that is best, even out of this
his
group,
best team or his best team in general.
Best team in this case, that cannot be the best team he had available to him tonight.
Any 11 doesn't have Luca De La Torre in it in this roster is not the best 11. And Diego Luna.
11, hold on. Diego Luna. Luca De La Torre and Diego Luna.
Those are the two players that have to be on the field if you're going to play your best 11 out of this roster and have a chance to win.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because what did this team struggle with all night long? Simple possession, simple passing. What does Luca De La Torre do? He's a metronome. He just gives the ball to him, you get it back in a better spot. He is a pace, he is a tempo player. This team didn't have possession, it didn't have calm on the ball. You needed a player like that. You only have one in this whole camp. And you didn't play him tonight.
He didn't play him. And there's a lot of that first half looked completely disjointed from an approach perspective. I watched the Turkey game in Spanish, and that was Andres Cantor. And there was some analysis I was following with my improving Spanish, and it was a lot of it was a lot of there's not a lot going on here and blah blah blah. I mean, obviously it ended up being not a complete disaster against Turkey. This one I watched in English, so that's Luke Weilman and Kyle Martino.
Yeah,
and Kyle Martino, and I don't know if everybody's been told to hammer the effort story or hammer the commitment story or whatever. I don't know if that's like a messaging thing. And look, I do a
lot of people see with their eyeballs, though.
Yeah, but Kyle Martino was talking about this isn't about quality. This is about caps. This is about.
I don't agree with him. I don't disagree with him.
I completely disagree with him. That was about quality. They just
because what I think he was truly talking about was this press. Now, the U.S. press in the first half was horrible because only portions of the press were happening.
Yes, but how is that a problem? Like, how is that team not prepared to press and understand their pressing triggers and
for sure
follow the ball?
Pochettino should have had that handled ahead of time. But Kyle Martino's point is, you don't have to be Kylian Mbappe to understand a pressure trigger. What he's saying is that the players on the field are at a high enough caliber that they either they're lacking the fitness or the awareness to press and execute the game plan.
Well, okay, I'm sorry.
And that's on Pochettino, but it's also on the players because
they're all scared. They're all scared of pressing. They thought pressing was we're not. Even though my coach told me that I'm supposed to press, and these are our pressing triggers, and we press 3 to the ball when
but you saw the difference of 46 minute on though. When Diego
maybe those players who started the game are I'm going to say a word that probably comes off as mean. Maybe they're too dumb to understand. Maybe they just don't have the tactical understanding. Maybe Paxton Aronson, maybe Quinn Sullivan. I'm sorry to pick on the Philly guys. Maybe Sebastian Berhalter. Maybe they're just not there. Maybe they just don't understand how to press together as a unit. Even though it
comes down to it, Philly Union just doesn't develop good enough players for the national team. I think we can say that now, right?
The funniest thing is that what is the Philadelphia Union known for in terms of their tactics in Major League Soccer?
Selling players.
They're known for pressing. They are a pressing team.
No, I'm just kidding. Mark McKenzie obviously should be in this lineup in this roster, but
it just.
But you know what I feel bad for? Brendan Aronson. You know why? Dude didn't get a call up last window when the best 11 available were being called. Gets a call up this window, gets 45 minutes and pulled in a team that was supposed to be pressing. And what's the one thing that Brendan Aronson's good at? Like, I think Pochettino officially doesn't rate Brendan Aronson.
Brendan Aronson, though, is like the token lone presser that it doesn't seem as though, and I don't know if this is, again, him not being connected with his teammates on when the triggers are being presented or what, but it feels like no American player presses on his own more than Brendan Aronson presses on his own. And it takes 2 touches of the ball to go around him. He's not Tyler Adams, right? He's not that kind of defender with the balls in front of him. You're going to be able to get around Brendan Aronson. He will put the effort in. He will close you down. But if you close somebody down and then he eliminates you, guess what? Now there's one fewer player defending behind the ball. That's incredible. That is that. And again, what was missing in the understanding in the first half of that game? And again, to be pulled so far across the field that the flanks there was 30 yards of space.
Yeah, multiple times.
30 yards of space for Manzambi, for Ndoye.
The rotations, the positional rotations were absent. I mean, it was really, really rough to watch. And Switzerland was just pulling strings around them, just putting the ball in positions, overloading a side, then switching the ball to the other side into the space. And then, I mean, guys like Arston, one-on-one defending. I mean, you saw it. I mean, a couple of times he made some really odd choices on what to do when he was one-on-one. Again, going forward, I don't mind him.
Not a defender. Again, that was the thing. You played
making Serginho Dest look like Nesta.
That is probably fair. You played in a Mauricio Pochettino, tactical savant, or at least well versed in the tactics of modern football, set a team up that was going to give away the flanks with one switch and set up 1v1s against a player who is not a defensive fullback. And he got smoked time and time again. And I mean, at one point, I think after the third or fourth time, and I think he'd already given up at least one goal by getting smoked. He just like, all right, screw it, I'm diving in. And of course, he got beat because he dives in, and now you've eliminated yourself.
Yeah, there's a few other things that are just really apparent. I mean, there's multiple times that the U.S. would get into the attacking third on a good switch or a through ball of some kind, or playing the ball out wide, and within 10 seconds, it's back at the center back's feet again. We recycled because the entry ball into midfield couldn't be found. It just couldn't be found. We would get into the attacking third and instantly back at sometimes even the goalkeeper's feet. You know, it was just no one could find the entry pass to or make that run. I don't know what it was. Like I said, you did see the difference when Diego Luna came on, and I mean, the dude shits red, white, and blue. I mean, you could see the guy. When people talk about what was missing, and it's been something that's been something we've been talked about for the last year. You're talking about it in terms of the TNT broadcast staff, the heart, the work rate, that kind of thing, that old school mentality. Diego Luna gives every one of those dudes a boner. Because he is that type of player, you know, and it's infectious. You can even see it, the guys around him. He presses, they press, you know. And granted, Pochettino had a talk with him in the locker room. You can't give all credit to Luna, but when you have a guy like that is going to put his head through a wall for the team, it's infectious. Tyler Adams has that kind of thing as well, you know. I'm really anxious to see when we can get those two guys on the field more with a couple other players, what that mentality could bring. The question becomes, what's Diego Luna's role in a full A squad? Because right now I only see 2 or 3 players from this team right now making it into that A pool lineup.
Well, and you know what the fucked up thing is? I'm going to say it. We spent all that time talking about how the guys like McKennie and Pulisic and Weah and some of those guys, and I'm not speaking about them individually necessarily, but the group had this entitlement about their position in the national team. Like, I hope that's real. I hope you're not doing a prop bit.
Oh, it's fucking real.
Okay, wow. All right, that I'm glad. You are not that far away from Hollywood. I wouldn't.
I had to pay on. With people in the podcast don't know, I am hitting a very large bottle of Jack Daniel's whiskey from Tennessee.
Oh yeah, I guess that kind of makes sense then. Okay,
not a sponsor.
No, no. I wish that would be amazing. All right, what I was going to say is we spent all that time talking about how these guys acted like they were entitled. And our friend JTT, Jonathan Taylor Tannewald, who I don't think is with us this evening.
Probably on deadline tonight.
OMFPT13.
But if I know JTT, he got it on the background right now.
He might have us. He might be able to like look down and see what we're talking about. You know, he took issue with something that Weston McKennie said about when I get back to the team, or when I, you know. Again, this sense that they feel entitled to their positions, that they feel like they don't have to prove anything.
I give Weston McKennie a pass.
Why? Why does
he doesn't have the option of being here? He's at the Club World Cup. He doesn't have the option of being here. He gets a pass.
That wasn't about this one. Okay, fine, whatever. He doesn't. It's
not Pulisic.
Fine. Whatever. My point is, these guys, and maybe this is again Pochettino's fault on some level, aren't exactly scaring those guys. In fact, the only way this works psychologically is what you said. It's like, hey, look, we're screwing everything up over here. Like, oh, you guys should get back as soon as you possibly can, because otherwise this joint, we might have to condemn this thing. This is that bad right now.
It's like the parents went out of town and the neighbor just texted a picture of the party in the backyard. Like, hey, shit's getting tore up at your house right now. Get back here as soon as you can.
The
kids aren't all right.
No, something is going wrong here. So somebody has done one too many fireball shots. That kind
a question here from the chat, and Sam puts it there. Do we have any doubts about Turner? All goals not his fault, but don't like his play out of the back. Then he clarifies, I guess what I meant is there a better option? For me, I think Turner gets the benefit of the doubt. I personally think that Schulte may be a better keeper right now, but not an option right now.
I mean, look, I do wonder about, was it the third goal that Turner got a hand to, but was unable to keep out?
I don't know. Yeah, the rebound. Yeah. He's that full extension. I mean,
I feel like maybe an informed Matt Turner.
Listen, if we lose 2-0, 1-0, yeah, it's 4-0, man. Like his defense did him dirty.
Yes, no, that is absolutely true.
I actually don't think the center backs played poorly, to be honest with you. I don't think the center backs were awful. It was the wings. It was the fullbacks. It's just,
well, okay, hold on, but nobody.
One of the hardest thing to defend is a 10-yard pass off your end line back towards the 6, because the opportunity for an own goal.
One thing I will say that I definitely agreed with Martino on is that they were pushing the line, the back line up, and there was no pressure on the ball. So tell me who's responsible for that. Right? It's got to be the guys in midfield. I mean, Brendan Aronson, again, we've already talked about him. He's got to be a presser. You've got to have Johnny Cardoso or Sebastian Berhalter doing some of that work to slow things down. It shouldn't be that easy. You shouldn't be able to 1, 2, 3, ping, 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 switch fields, open up space, go to the inline, cut back, and score. It shouldn't be that simple. That is in every team's playbook. That exact sequence is in every team, especially if you have speed on the wings, which obviously if you've done scouting, you should know. We've got to deal with Ndoye. We got to deal with Mansabi. These players are not unknown players. They play in Germany. They play in Italy. These are players who are very, very visible.
But because of that, when you've got a bunch of a team full of guys with 5 caps and less, it's intimidating as well.
I suppose. All right, I do have a phone call.
They watch Ndoye on the weekend. They watch him on TV.
Yeah, okay. That's right. We do have a phone line open, 315-872-2378. If you want to call us,
old school now, baby.
We're doing it old school. Again, no JTT, but I believe one of our OG callers, at least the last couple of years, Felix in Chicago. Is this Felix in Chicago?
It is. That's a good memory.
What a Felix?
No, my system tells me, Felix. I didn't remember your phone number. I don't have your digits burned in the brain. I just can see it in the screen. So what you got, Felix?
Yeah, my question is this. There's a lot of different ways you can go with this, right? I mean, you can get into the, maybe Berhalter wasn't the sole problem. I think you can get into the pool depth type of questions. Obviously once you kind of get the pools is more shallow than maybe we realized. But the question I wanted to ask was this: who do you think, honestly, at this point, is probably played themselves off, basically played themselves out of real consideration going forward? I think at this point, I don't think I'm really stepping out here. Johnny Cardoso, I think, has probably played himself off the team.
I mean, it's hard. It'll be extreme. Felix, it'll be extremely hard to leave a potential Atletico Madrid player off your roster. I think he's worked himself out of a starting position. I think that's for sure. But I think at the end of the day, when you look down the roster, and assuming Tyler Adams is healthy, man, that's a tough thing for Pochettino to do.
I'm going to throw this at you, Jared. So let's been a minute since we did a pick your poison. Since Felix is throwing out Johnny Cardoso, who I want to like as a player with the national team, and I am left cold every single time I see him play with the U.S. men's national team. And I'm not even talking about the disaster against Turkey. I'm talking about his general play. But you like Tyler Adams, again, not available tonight. Maybe that would have made a difference. Tyler Adams is in the team based on pure talent. Whether he's a starter might be determined by opponent. After that, so tonight, we did not see him. You mentioned him, Luca De La Torre or Johnny Cardoso for the World Cup if it happened right now.
Oh, De La Torre in a moment. In a
No,
second. Because here's the thing. I think you can find a couple of different guys that can be positionally good defensively. Aiden Morris, I think, can
So,
do that job.
Aiden Morris or Johnny Cardoso?
Damn, dude. I like Aiden Morris more. I'm not going to lie. I like Aiden Morris more. I don't know that he's being tested at was it Middlesbrough? Is that in the championship? I don't know he's getting tested at the same level that Johnny Cardoso is getting tested. Oh man, dude. I think I'm taking Johnny Cardoso still, and I hate it. Feels dirty.
Wow. That
just
does,
because here's the thing. Aiden Morris is getting.
Can I
go ahead, Felix? Go ahead.
Oh no, yeah, sorry. I'm sorry. I was going to say, can I jump in? One thing we were criticizing like a year ago is that there was too many guys kind of with their names written on the roster in pen. Well, so and so plays in this place. You know, he plays here. He has to be on the team. This one has to be on the team. Maybe we need to be. I'm not saying this is the problem, but I think it's a part of many, right? That maybe that's a part of it. Like where there's too many of these guys who are on the team. Well, he plays in La Liga. He has to be there. No, he doesn't. Where you play and how you play gets you on the national team. How you play when you get those chances justifies whether you stay on the national team. Johnny Cardoso has played himself off the national team. I think Matt Turner, he's probably played himself out of a starting spot. I think you can probably do this with a few different guys.
Okay.
Zimmerman, McKenzie.
Felix.
I think you do this with a bunch of different
Felix.
guys. Yeah.
The issue is if you say, okay, Johnny Cardoso has played himself out of the national team, you have to replace Johnny Cardoso in the national team. And you have to be sure that the player you're replacing him with is a better player, or at least better with the national team than Johnny Cardoso. And the same thing goes for starting roles or anything else. Matt Turner, he's played himself out of a starting role for the U.S. men's national team in goal. Well, who's the guy making a case that he should take Matt Turner's position? If you're just saying, well, Matt Turner's not good enough, the second half of that equation is who is good enough.
You know, Felix,
you don't know it. You're not going to know who it is, though, until they have that opportunity, right? And there's always someone who's pounding on that door who wants in. And there's going to be people who aren't. Go ahed. I'm sorry.
No, I agree with that. I think the thing about Aiden Morris, the tough thing about saying Aiden Morris is that he's getting shine by proxy in absentia. He's not here, so we equate that he would do better than Johnny Cardoso, who's a known quantity this camp. What I will say, and I'm going to go back to this, the SEO Spider put up out there, Cardoso was man of the match against Real Madrid this season, just saying. And now that doesn't give him the ability to just play on the national team. But what it does mean in the World Cup scenario, if you're playing Spain or somewhere at that level, what's the best player Aiden Morris defended this year? And at some point, Cardoso was marking Luka Modric. You know, there's something to be said about the ability to step up and not be intimidated. Whether he performs or not is different, but not intimidated.
I don't know if that's, maybe that's a consideration on World Cup stage, but I'm going to go to what Frank says here. This might sound unfair, but is it possible that Cardoso is surrounded by different style of players that when he comes to the national team, he just can't adapt? Abso-freaking-lutely.
That's the job, though.
No, but yes, the job is to adapt. But if you see over and over again that a play, and this is it, you can say two things can be true. Johnny Cardoso was a very good soccer player, and he does not fit with the U.S. men's national team. Those things can be true. They can live right next to each other. They don't have to be mutually exclusive. Just because we're saying Johnny Cardoso maybe shouldn't be in the national team doesn't mean we're saying Johnny Cardoso is a bad player. Yeah. And what that comment about Real Madrid man of the match for El Betis is saying is that the guy's got this pedigree. He's got these credentials. He's got this thing on his CV, which demands that you call him into the national team. And you told Felix this. It's going to be difficult for any manager to say, Johnny, we're leaving you off the U.S. men's national team when the guy that replaces him might be playing for Middlesbrough, might be playing in France.
And listen, the world is full. History is full of players like Johnny Cardoso. Do you think Steven Gerrard, Paul Scholes, and Frank Lampard weren't good midfielders? But they couldn't play together at the national team level. They couldn't play for England at the level they could with their club teams because some players just don't. Either the team chemistry is not right, the pressure is not right, the formation that the national team manager wants to play isn't right. There's plenty of examples out there where the best players on a team are not the right players for the team.
This is why we're paying Mauricio Pochettino $6 million a year to figure this shit out, right? And look, if he was some MLS coach who had just gotten this job, or it didn't have sort of this reputation that he carries with him, having coached at PSG and Tottenham Hotspur and Chelsea and all these things, I may not be as sort of hostile towards Pochettino as I am right now. But the man's getting paid a king's ransom based on this resume he has to figure this shit out, right? And thanks for the call, Felix. I gotta move on. But that thing of him not getting it right multiple times in recent history scares me. Now, maybe it all comes together at the World Cup, but it is still scary. I think I got another call here. I'm not sure who this is. 267 area code. Who's this?
It's Jonathan.
Ah, look who he did call. He can't stay away from
JTT.
OMFPT 13. It's JTT.
Hey,
Taylor,
JTT. Hey, JTT. You got enough storylines for tonight?
Just a few, yeah, really.
Well,
I tuned in late because I was waiting for a post-game press conference that hasn't started yet.
Oh.
This is my question since I tuned in late. How many people have called for Pochettino's head so far?
Not that many.
There's
not that
three
many.
I saw in the chat.
Okay.
I think I saw
Okay.
three. A lot of DEFCON zeros or DEFCON ones. So.
I do think that it's largely, okay, we knew this team wasn't a world-beating team. So everybody's kind of had adjusted their expectations, but this is obviously bad even by those adjusted expectations, Jonathan.
No, it's very bad. And it annoyed me a lot that Nathan Harriel was at fault for all 4 goals. And the country saw why he's lost the starting job.
Arfston deserves 1.
What?
Arfston,
do you think so?
Arfston
Well,
gets
I mean,
one.
Harriel missed his mark at the back post, but I think Arfston started that with getting beat on the other side. But I see your point, GTT.
Sure. This is what I cannot get out of my head. What is that essential American thing that somehow there is a mystical person out there that will unlock something in Weston McKennie and Gio Reyna that nobody has ever been able to done before? And why is Bruce Arena the only person who can do that?
Oh, why is it Bruce Arena? Huh. Bruce Arena
in his own mind.
Oh. I don't know that any coach can get the best out of Gio Reyna. I think that's what we're learning at this point. How many different coaches at Borussia Dortmund at this point? 3, 4, at least, right?
At least,
like 2 national team coaches.
Mm-hmm. Don't forget Nuno at Nottingham Forest. By the way, don't forget about Nuno, who gave him almost no time. So I mean, this is look. I don't even know if we should be. Gio Reyna is the least of our problems right now. To be honest with you,
but Diego Luna is the new Gio Reyna.
As a commenter, Thomas Dupree in the chat is pointing out, is JTT willing to admit now that Poch didn't do his homework on this team before he took the job? No, I'm not. And here's why. He went looking for a bunch of guys with a better attitude than he thought he was going to get out of the guys he didn't call in, and he lost the gamble. So far, at least. And I'll be interested to see if he is admitting that he's losing the gamble right now. I don't know if he will. There are a couple of guys who I would have liked to see on this roster, including Aiden Morris and Alex Dejas. But the question now is, okay, the guys you called in didn't deliver. What are you going to do next?
Yeah. Well, okay. Let's go.
I don't think Turkey and Switzerland are the best teams they're going to play before the World Cup.
Okay. You think they'll get a couple? You think they'll get a couple of good friendlies right ahead of it?
I think possibly March too. Yes, I do.
Okay. Well, I mean, and again, we're not seeing progress. And I will go back to something that came up at the very top of the show, Jonathan, since you weren't able to watch then. We were talking about what Pochettino's attitude was coming into these friendlies. they are friendlies. They don't count for anything other than, again, sort of, working some things
Pride?
out, maybe pride. No. Okay. Again, this is what I want to get to with Jonathan. Do you think Pochettino thought of these as kickabouts, as practice games, and missed, even though he's been talking about it, missed that it was most important to put the best possible performance on the field? I mean, you could argue against Turkey, they were at least competitive. In this one, they were not. And it's because of the team he chose. Why didn't he just pick a better team against Switzerland to try to build into the tournament with a good performance? You can see the quality. Everybody who pays attention to American soccer looks at that team and goes, that team is not very good across the board.
I'm not disagreeing that I might have picked a different lineup tonight or a different set of players. I'm not disagreeing with that. He did say yesterday, point blank, I'm playing a bunch of the other guys tonight, tomorrow night, to see what they can do.
Okay.
And that's what I'm looking to see tonight. If he says, I tried this and it didn't work.
But we're also
Because
into
I think
we're also
the
into
point that you just made. To these,
Go ahead, Jonathan. Sorry.
Are these training games in a way?
Mm-hmm.
I think that might be how he sees them.
So, John, I want to ask you a question I asked Jason off the top of the show. You probably didn't get to hear me ask it, but I want to get your opinion on this. To Pochettino, are we, like I asked Jason, are we just looking at this wrong? To Pochettino, is all this leading up to the first whistle of the first game of the World Cup, is none of it mean anything, and all of it's just data? And we shouldn't care about results. We shouldn't care about performance. It's just data after data point after data point, so that on day one of the World Cup, he has the data he needs to select the best team and the best roster. And that's all that really matters. I'm asking you, John.
I think that might be the case. And he's just come on, so I'm going to get off the line in a second.
Okay.
I think that might be the case. And the question that I have is, should that point in time start in March, November, October, September, or June of next year?
Right. Yeah.
What's the starting point?
Yeah. What and I guess what I'll call you got if you have to run, John, go ahead, hang on up on us. We won't be offended. But I guess the thing that I keep coming to is, again, the rhetoric is it's supposed to matter every time you suit up for the national team. The rhetoric is we're supposed to be pushing back against this apparent culture of not caring enough and not sweating and bleeding for your colors and your flag the way that, say, an Argentinian would when they step on the field or when they get called up. And by the way, I will point out, just for a point of comparison, that Argentina and Colombia playing tonight, Jared, in a World Cup qualifier, Argentina is 10 points up at the top of the table in comparable World Cup qualifying. Already qualified for the World Cup. They're definitely going to the World Cup next year. They're 10 points up on everybody else in the field. Lionel Messi starting. Julian Alvarez starting. All of the guys that would start a meaningful World Cup game tomorrow if Argentina was playing one started in a game against Colombia. I know it's
Don Garber's heart attack starting.
Well, yes, I guess you could say it that way.
I'm still on Jason because I like the point.
Okay, go ahead.
And that, to me, can be sent to wherever in Florida Pulisic family lives these days. But I think as I said, I think he wants to see who's got it. And he hasn't been in the job long enough to know everybody who's got it. And if they hadn't flunked in March, maybe we were in a very different situation now if the guys don't flunk in March the way they did.
Yeah. I agree with that.
So
yeah,
he wants to see who's got it. And again, the question is, okay, when have you seen what you need to see?
It just feels like selection isn't following any particular rational process. I mean, roster selection. I mean, you mentioned Nathan Harriel, right? Started this game tonight, complicit on 4 goals. It doesn't take a close MLS watcher to understand that maybe Nathan Harriel, and I know he was a replacement, right? He was an injury replacement, Nathan Harriel, so not an original name.
Freeman played decently the other night.
Do we think, and I guess we're just speculating here, but do we think that Mauricio Pochettino is relying on somebody else, somebody at U.S. Soccer, some other person, some other scout, whoever was hanging on since he took over, to choose his players that he's calling up for this roster? Not Pulisic, not McKennie, not Weah, but this particular roster, because he just doesn't know.
I don't think so. I think he's doing the homework.
No, I don't think so.
That.
No, I don't think so. In fact, I know he's not.
Okay, well, then how do you explain some of these selections?
I'm gonna take that one. I'm gonna take that one because I have an idea of this. I really think that, again, going back to the basis of none of this matters. 2 things he's going to accomplish this summer. 1, a shot across the bow to the commitment of every senior a roster player. 2, if all this results in unearthing 1 to 2 diamonds in the rough that he can call on next year, then it's worth it to him. I think he went on a deep gold panning run here.
Okay.
Trying to see if he can find a DeMarcus Beasley and Landon Donovan circa 2002.
I get that. But I'll come back to, and look, I'm not saying that every single thing has to be about winning every single game, and that just means you never get a chance to experiment. But there is something to be said for the continued depression of interest in this team through embarrassing losses, embarrassing home performances, being non-competitive in games like this, not showing up when you are in a position to win a trophy like they were in the Nations League. At this point, the vibes around this team are so bad that you are wasting the World Cup. It feels that way to me, John, unless a year is enough time and I need to simmer down.
Look, I have seen situations where 50 days is enough time. I saw it last year. As I've told you before, there's only one Emma Hayes in the world, so I'm not expecting Mauricio Pochettino to be the same as Emma Hayes. But she took the U.S. women on quite some road from, what was it, June 1st to the Olympic gold medal game. So these things can be done in a short period of time. Let me ask you this, Chase. If this stretch, if these 2 games were if there was not a Gold Cup afterward, what would we be thinking?
What would we be thinking? Maybe this is our last chance to make a change at the head coaching position before a disastrous World Cup on home soil in 2026.
You would fire the coach if the only 2 games of the summer were these friendlies.
I don't know that I would, but I might be thinking about it.
That's not a coach thing. That's a Matt Crocker thing. That's U.S. soccer not setting up the right fixtures if these were the only 2 games. These 2 games are the right level, though. I'm not mad with the level of these 2 games and the opponent they got. I'm mad that we didn't bring a roster good enough to compete against them.
Thank you. How about the fact that we're wasting 2 of the best friendlies we've had in a very long time because our guys aren't here? And again, I know some of this is on Johnny Infantino and not on Mauricio Pochettino, but man,
not the roster.
When I keep hearing, well, some of it, when I keep hearing about, and I guess, again, I know Yildiz played for Juventus before the Club World Cup. He played for Turkey rather before the Club World Cup starts, which, hey, they're not going to be here for the Gold Cup, Weah and McKennie and Reyna. So don't even bother calling him in. Why not have them in to be part of the group? Because you need more reps, period.
Because you don't want the players to be like Reyna and McKennie.
Everything feels very disconnected.
But here's the thing: all this wouldn't matter. Pochettino could approach this window just like he is that now. If we're going back to the data thing, he just mining for gems, he could do that if we hadn't wasted Copa America, wasted Nations League. About to waste a Gold Cup. If we had just hit expectations at any one of those things.
And the stars of this team are the ones that wasted the Copa America and got the coach they swore by fired.
Yeah. Yeah. And look, this is the problem. The catch-22. Go ahead, John. Go ahead.
If you brought them in for the friendlies and then sent them off before the Gold Cup, they're making a pretty serious statement right there.
About what, John?
About how little the official competition matters.
Okay. I mean, again, I'm not talking about players who had the option to play both. I'm talking about players who could not play in the Gold Cup because they're with their Club World Cup teams. In the case of Weah and McKennie, in the case of again, I don't know what to do about the Pulisic question anymore, because I've been told that he's had a long season and he needs to rest, and we want him ready for the World Cup next year, and this is the right choice for him and his body. At the same time, I'm also hearing these guys don't care enough and they don't show up, and Clint Dempsey is spitting fire on it, and Donovan's getting himself in trouble being called a hypocrite because he goes on Fox broadcasts and draws the ire of Mark Pulisic. Like, I don't know what to like. Should I be angry because Pulisic isn't with this group because he turned down a call up, or should I be thinking, well, it's fine. He knows himself best, and this doesn't like where am I? How am I supposed to feel about the culture of the team when I'm told there's an excuse for the team's best player to turn down a call up for the Gold Cup?
I can deal with all that.
Put it on the player.
All right. Well,
then put it on the player.
But okay, the catch-22 of this, right? Jared, will come back to this. Catch-22 of this is you can't drop all those guys because that's the only quality you have. You can't drop McKennie. You can't drop Weah after the red card. You can't drop Pulisic.
We're not Brazil or Spain, where there's a ton of other dudes to bring up the same level.
You cannot drop them in order to send some message.
We know that now.
Yeah, well, I think we knew that before, but maybe it's maybe it's very clear, or it's.
I don't think any of us thought the drop up was be as big as this.
Well, okay. It's also
yes,
it is
exactly.
also important to say that there aren't a ton of countries in the world that can go too deep at every position and be fine. Like, that's just not a thing. And Pulisic, Weah, McKennie, Adams is hurt, Dest is out, Jedi Robinson. I mean, we're up to more than half the starting lineup. If you,
I don't need us to be drop two players, have two players, and be fine. I think we should be able to put a shot on goal. Is that too much to ask? A shot on goal with our reserve team? Like, I don't need to win a 1-0 loss where we've had 5 shots on goal and we had 45% possession and chances created and looked like we at least had some semblance of chemistry. But we just lost 4-0 without a shot on goal. Like, this isn't a drop off. This is like, it's worse. I don't know.
It's a cliff. You're saying it's a cliff. Jonathan, you're going to be collecting.
And I think that.
Go ahead.
I think the drop is greater than we thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
All
right.
And we're going to find out if that's the lesson that was learned.
All right. Jonathan Tannewald calling us up, covering all the events therein.
And to speak to that point a little bit more, there's World Cup veterans on this roster. Haji Wright, Brendan Aronson. There's guys that you should have been able to call on in this window that rise to the occasion. Walker Zimmerman. There are guys that you should have been able to call on in this window when the other guys are out, who are hungry to make a spot. They're on the outside looking in, that didn't rise to the occasion. And that's the part that makes the drop off worse than what you think, because you see semblances of that roster in 2022 here.
Let me open up a different line of inquiry here. And again, if John wants to hang on, he can. How much of this issue, the drop off we see, might be down to the fact that we simply do not have an identity, that we haven't carried forward through any distinct period of time something that makes this team the American team. Like, the U.S. men's national team plays this way. We're constantly trying to reinvent the wheel with our managers, with our coaches, and then when you go, okay, well, let's bring in a bunch of other players. Let's bring in a second batch of players. Let's look at our pool. It's not like they have some sense of how to play. Everybody's starting from scratch. Whereas even if you have a different manager for Brazil's going to play the way Brazil plays. Germany's going to play the way Germany plays.
Will tell you different. No, Dunga changed that team.
Okay, that's true. But everybody hated the Dunga period.
But did they win?
They won under Dunga. They're not winning now.
I'm saying, like, there is, let's see, there are exceptions to that rule.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. Jonathan, you disagree with my premise?
I don't give a damn about identity.
Okay. Well, what I mean by identity, though, is a sense of, because again, the issue is this is a national team. You don't get a lot of time to run them through their paces or fix things tactically. What you need is a sort of basic system that you can ask them to play when they come into camp.
There's 200 countries in the world, roughly. Okay. How many have a national identity when it comes to a soccer
look,
team?
and I don't even mean this in
Or-
like I can identify it. I'm just
or
saying
maybe-
that there is a connective tissue, right? This is the thing that we talk about when we talk about the lack of grit and fight in this generation, is that's the identity of the team right now is disconnected from the one that Dempsey played for, or Donovan played for, or McBride played for, or go down your list. And those teams weren't good. Let's not kid ourselves. They weren't good. They were,
But you
good
could
for
take pride in the style, though.
I don't even the style. No, I don't say pride in the style. I'm just saying that they were going to fight for everything. They might get beaten. They might go up 2-0 on Brazil and then get beaten by 3 goals in the second half. But at least I know they were fighting for it.
This from the chat from Pam at 53. We seem to have an identity before 2018 and lost it afterwards. Fair?
I mean, I certainly think Kuva broke
No.
something.
No.
You don't think something broke? John, okay, tell me.
Was it an identity, in quotes, when, speaking of Landon Donovan et al., Bruce Arena played a 3-5-2 against Mexico and took the team to the quarterfinals of a World Cup, having never played a 3-5-2 before?
Well, I'm not even really talking
That's
about
16
formation.
years before the year he's talking about, though.
I'm not talking about formation. I'm not even talking about like defend and counter stuff, although that really was the thing we used to our best advantage. I mean, I was just telling somebody the other day about how Bob Bradley got labeled a negative coach because he played an empty bucket. Nobody screamed about the empty bucket all the time. I mean, at least we knew, again, you had a couple of players who understood the assignment. And what we're talking about now is that these guys don't understand the assignment. And I'm not even sure it's not that they don't care or they don't bring the effort. There's something, again, and I don't even like talking about intangibles because damn it, I can't figure out how to like explain what this is. Jonathan's like, oh, well, they played a 3-5-2. And I'm like, it's not about formation, but I don't know what it is about, Jonathan. So
it's the eye test, dude. It's the eye test.
I think they understand the assignment, and some of them aren't good enough.
Well, that's fair. Okay, that's certainly a possibility. Yeah.
But it's the assignment wrong, John. Like that, I think Pochettino, even Berhalter, the assignment was more complicated than it needed to be.
No, I don't think it's that. I don't think under Berhalter it got too complicated. I don't think, from everything I've heard, talking with Pochettino and talking with the players, I don't think the assignment is all that complicated. I really don't.
Okay, but then what are we talking about here? I mean, I can go back to the Nations League and we railed on about Yunus Musa being deployed in a position that they had no business playing, and it seems as though Pochettino keeps running himself into similar issues with personnel, with selection, with the setup. And again, if he doesn't care, if he simply does not care about the result, fine, experiment. But if you're setting your team up to get hammered 4-0 with all the goals coming in quick succession in the first half, we're all going to question what you're doing. We have no other evidence to judge you on except for this absolute disaster of a performance. And we can make all the excuses we want about the quality of the group that he has, John, but this is his job to give us confidence he knows what he's doing.
I can fairly easily distill what you just said into what I'm about to say, and I'm recording Pochettino. I'll listen to it later. He said yesterday very clearly, I'm going to play a bunch of different guys tomorrow. Is he going to say tonight, and they got it, and they blew it?
I guess my only question to that, JTT, is why is he choosing to play a bunch of different players? And not to say the question whether he should have. I'm saying, is he playing 5 different players or a bunch of different players because he thinks they're the better lineup, or because they're the players he hasn't seen? That's the interesting part of Pochettino's mind that I don't understand.
The latter. They're absolutely the latter. Absolutely the latter, because he hadn't seen them yet.
In that case, I think he's done his players a disservice because he put the weaker of the two lineups out against a harder team.
I don't even think that's a flip of the coin.
You sure about that?
Turkey and Switzerland, that's a flip of the coin. Like
I don't think so.
No, I think, well, it doesn't matter. Neither of them are pushovers. You can't be like grading your challenges here. These are both.
I also think Pochettino's playing from an unfortunate position where Tyler Adams should have started this game and he couldn't. I think that was always the plan, to have Tyler Adams in this game. This was his game. Cardoso got the other one. He didn't anticipate a leg injury. So I think that is something that is different about this game. And he probably didn't adjust enough to the fact that Tyler Adams wasn't going to be in it. because Cardoso and Berhalter together wasn't good enough. There just wasn't enough possession game. I don't know.
That's for sure.
Yeah, they had no ability to actually take control of the match.
They got run over.
They couldn't advance the ball.
Could not. Nope.
Which is why Luca De La Torre should have got minutes.
And they couldn't stop it going the other way either.
Which was their job, right? And again, now we're coming back to individual performances and, hey, what does this mean? And I think we all kind of see degrees of player here. I mean, we can, there are guys that even coming into this, we would probably be like, I don't know if that guy's going to be involved next year. I don't know. And there are guys like, oh, yeah, maybe if the full team was called up, they would still be there. And now we're asking that question of, if Johnny Cardoso keeps no-showing the U.S. men's national team, no matter where he plays his club football, should he be in this group?
No, he shouldn't.
With a couple of minutes left, Jason, I want to pivot to one thing here that's coming up in the chat a bit, and that is, has Canada taken the mantle of what U.S. used to have in terms of that grit, that determination, that fight? You see it in the Jesse Marsh team playing for Canada right now. But let me finish on this real quick. If you go back 2 years from now, the USA is heads and tails the most dominant team in CONCACAF. Not even close. Mexico's far in the rear mirror. They're in a constitutional crisis. Canada is performing here and there, but back-to-back Nations League wins, John, and playing very well. Mexico's scared of the U.S. and on a long-term losing streak. That mentality of being the best team in CONCACAF is trying to maybe force us to try to play like we're the best team in CONCACAF, whereas Canada is able to take the more U.S. role from years past, where it's like, we're going to shoot above our weight.
Many people in the public who don't care about CONCACAF.
This is not.
But those are the only teams we're playing. But up until right now, John, those are the only. Nations League has ruined the friendly schedule for us.
I'm with you, to be clear, but there's a whole lot of people out there who still wish they'd secede from CONCACAF and go to UEFA.
With Greenland.
I mean, yeah, but that's an imaginary solution. That doesn't do anything.
Why would they want us? Look at us right now. Why would they want us? They need another San Marino?
Man. No, well, come on. We don't have to neg ourselves that much. Okay. I mean, there's still potential in this. I don't know. I don't want to.
What team of Europe are we equal to right now?
We're like
Denmark.
No, Denmark's better than us.
Okay. Hungary.
Hungary's maybe in the Hungary range.
Poland.
Maybe in the Poland range. Poland's not great. Austria. Where's Austria right now? They got some world-class players, but man, I wouldn't mess with Greece.
Greece can pop off.
Yeah. I don't know. Are we Cyprus? Cyprus? What are we? Lithuania?
I'll throw Israel in there for JTT.
Are we Israel? I don't know, man. I don't know. John,
UEFA, right?
I yes, they do. I did see some quotes coming out. Ben Wright posted, "We need to blame ourselves." This is from Pochettino. "We need to blame ourselves. This lineup was my decision, and the decision didn't work." I'm glad the man's taking taking responsibility, but
right thing to
God
say.
damn it, maybe don't screw it up in the first place, Mauricio. Maybe that's the way to go in the future. All right, John, thank you for calling us up.
I take your point. But he said, in fact, he said before the first game exactly what he was going to do. He said, I'm going to try to play at least 80% of the players over the two games.
Okay, he said that. He didn't
telegraphed it all on.
Okay, of course. I'm not disputing that he telegraphed it. I'm saying the decision to do that was the wrong decision. Go back in time and never say those words,
Sure,
Mauricio
fine.
Pochettino. Okay, all right. Nobody can say so.
That's fine.
Listen. If this all could have been avoided if we just had more lemons. Everyone knows Nashville's citrus game is shit.
We like different lemons, like a different variety of lemons. I think
what
maybe
grows on trees in Nashville? They got peaches. What do they got there? They ain't lemons.
Peaches.
I don't know. What do they got? Pecans?
I don't know. Yeah, what do they got in Nashville? Country music singers? They go on trees over there.
Yeah,
that's a thing. You get a couple of those.
Hot chicken.
Big booby white girls.
You know what's an invasion? Hot chicken. There's like 12 places within a mile of my house. It's It's ridiculous.
You should be frequenting all of them. There's not enough.
Who's eating hot chicken all
You
the
don't
time?
like hot chicken?
No, I'm not a hot chicken guy.
Oh, I can tell by your complexion.
Oh, I like spice. I'm the one in the house that likes spicy, believe it or not. Jonathan Tannenwald, thank you for calling us up. I'm going to end our show soon. So thank you.
Enjoy that deadline, Johnny.
There goes John Tannenwald calling us up. I could play him out. I haven't been using the drop.
JTT.
OMFPT13. It's JTT. Cool. Okay, so I wanted to ask, and I saw a couple people jumping in early. We'll finish with this. Let's do our DEF CONs. Now, again, consider this group in the context and no Pulisic and all the stars and all those things. And the World Cup is a year away, and the Gold Cup is not that important, but you wouldn't like to get embarrassed in your home country, in your continental tournament. Jared, your DEF CON.
Again, for me, DEF CON 1 means the coach needs to be replaced. I am not going to go lower than a 2 before World Cup. I'm just not. It's all a process. You know, like I don't know that there's anything that means so much that at this point, I don't see how changing the coach is a better thing. You're already paying 2 coaches' salaries. You want to pay 3? Like, let the guy work. I'm not happy. My fandom is at a 1. Like, I wanted to turn off if I wasn't doing a show tonight, I would have turned off the TV at halftime. Mm-hmm. If I didn't have to come speak about the second half, they lost me in that first half. And look at the crowd. Look at those seats.
The people cleared out. People cleared out.
Well, they didn't show up in the first place, and then it cleared out.
Okay, well, the lower bowl looked relatively decent in the first half.
But listen, it is a statement on the fan base right now that yes, Pochettino, Cook, do what you got to do, buddy. I don't know what you're doing, but whatever you're doing, make it happen. But just know that no one's coming to the restaurant to eat because they can't figure out what your menu is.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, again, this is where I'm not even thinking about I don't know. We can never separate ourselves from the evangelism of being American soccer fans, right? The booster element of our identity. It's like, we want their team to win. Why? Because you just want to revel in the glory? No, I want my team to win so more people like soccer. Like that part, we can never separate that part. Some people are probably better at it than I am.
I want to win because it's fucking fun.
No, that's my main concern here. But it's also that thing of like, oh, we're gonna waste the World Cup, bro. Like,
I want to see what celebration Diego Luna's gonna do.
Yeah, I mean, what's up? What's for? Can we? Okay, 1 minute. I know you maybe have things to do. I do too. Okay, what is happening? Am I just old now? Like, I just don't get the way people are choosing their person. Diego Luna has a particular brand, and I'm actually kind of like, okay, I get his brand. I don't know what the mustache. What the hell is John Tolkien doing? What is he doing?
I called his hair John Ritter adjacent.
It's pretty good.
Jack Tripper adjacent. That's what I said. Actually, Jack Tripper adjacent.
I was like,
maybe John Denver adjacent.
Is he moonlighting as a bowling alley manager in his spare time? Like, what is this?
Here's the thing, Diego Luna. I don't care because when you play like that, you can do whatever the hell you want. We said it back in the day. Remember who's the guy that had the skunk hair on RSL back in the day? Remember that kid that broke out? He had the rat tail. Like, I can't remember what his name was. Like, we always said, like, if you're gonna rock that, you need to bring something different than everyone else. Tolkien, I don't think he brings it. Diego Luna brings it. Here's what I hope. Diego Luna scores. He goes over to the corner, puts his foot on the ball, and a friend comes up and act like they're tattooing a new tattoo on his leg. That's what I want to see.
You want it like a tattoo situation. Yes. I agree. It's not even like, I understand, like, what is it that if you're not, if you're really, really good looking, well, you don't have this issue, but like, don't be boring, like be interesting look. You can be ugly and interesting looking and still be attractive. Like somebody like you talk about like, who's the guy from
Travis Barker?
Yeah. Travis Barker is a good example. Benny Blanco is a good example, right? Benny Blanco right now,
I don't get it.
He's an interesting looking cat and he's got talent, that's it. That's all it takes. Maybe that's what John Tolkien is leaning into, but choosing to be gray when you're in your 20s is a fucking choice. It is a fucking choice.
Has he been accepted? Oh, Sebastian Velasquez. Well done, Jackie D. Bring it, Sebastian Velasquez. That's who had the rat tail, man. And he had a wonderful couple months.
Yeah. All right. We could hang out for a bit, but I think I've got stuff to go. It's 11 o'clock on the East Coast. I don't want to think about this game anymore. I want to move on. So you said a 2 for you. I'm going to keep it at a
Go to
2.
DEFCON 2.
I think I saw a bunch of 2s in
I
there.
won't be below a 2 before the World Cup.
I saw some
I won't.
people say that they are edging towards a 1. Just, by the way, that is Jared's definition.
We are at DEFCON 1. DEFCON 1?
I do define it as DEFCON 1. You're getting rid of your coach.
Yes, your DEFCON 1 is we're firing our coach, or you're advocating for the firing of the coach, right?
Is there
You're
DEFCON 0? 1's the lowest, right?
No, 1 is we are literally about to
Yeah.
launch our nuclear weapons.
Yeah.
Okay, so 1 is everybody is on a hair trigger alert. 2 is we're getting ready. Like if something else bad happens, we're going to be a DEFCON 1, right? And DEFCON 3 is obviously like, oh, okay, we're
Take us to DEFCON 3.
you can hear it in my man's voice.
Yeah. He
It's
doesn't like
dramatic,
it. He doesn't
but
like it.
He
But
doesn't
he's
love
not
it,
worried. He's not too worried yet.
but he's not yet.
What's his
Walker-
DEFCON 4 voice? What's his DEFCON 4 voice?
I don't have DEFCON 4 available right now.
They go right to they go right to 3 on that.
I think 5 is complete peace.
Yeah.
Everything is chill, and I think they get to 4. But
where are we
I
at in California right now?
Well, there's a pocket of Los Angeles that might be pretty high.
Listen, y'all, if you don't know, I live a few miles from there. This is no worse than when the Lakers win the championship. There's nothing happening out there right now. That ain't normal for Southern California.
but
you know,
but if the Clippers won the championship, I mean,
they burned 5 Waymo cars, and you would think it's World War III out here. Like those things are lithium ion, man. They go up easy.
man. Waymo cars are a trip anyway. Like they're all over San Francisco, and I'm just like, what?
Listen,
what?
LAPD, they deal with this all the time. There ain't nothing out here that needs nothing. Like literally, you just don't remember because Lakers haven't won in a few years.
I would advocate that. I would advocate people not burn shit down if you can
Sure.
avoid it, but also like
Yeah.
I would advocate for police not to shoot.
But in
people with
Los
rubber
Angeles,
bullets
we
for
do
no
it when
reason.
we're happy.
I know. You guys have, yeah.
I'm not saying it's right, but I'm just
All
saying
right.
we don't need a lot.
All right, that's going to do it. By the way, we do have a Patreon if you want to join up and support the show, patreon.com/thebestsoccershow. It's bonus content, which is usually me making stuff. Jared and I get together for bonus shows occasionally.
Definitely peek under the curtain, so to speak, in last week's besties bonus.
Oh, yeah, that one got personal, right? It got a little weird. Wow.
You must have had a few drinks.
I don't know. Did I?
I don't think
Anyway,
you did,
if you want to know a little too much about me, join up and go listen to last week's best bonus show. You can also get access to the Besties Slack, which is
peek
awesome.
behind the curtain. Yeah,
Sure. Yes, I discussed part of my wardrobe is what happened basically.
Your hoodie.
Right? Yes, my hoodie, my turtleneck is actually probably what better way of talking about. All right, that's enough. I think
y'all later.
Patreon.com/the best soccer show and get that. And yeah, we'll talk to you guys. USA destroyed in Nashville. Bye guys.
The Sausage King of Chicago.
What are we doing?
Go to DEFCON 2.
WNBC. WNBC. Oh, it's incredible. So feel respect for the Gegner. So feel respect for the Gegner. What was that?
Oh, here we go. Saucing them up. Hit him. What?
Can I get a manager? Can I please get a manager?
Michael fucking Oscar Fiscal.
Hey, Rogers.